After 6 long weeks during the months of April and May of 2019, HBO's Game of Thrones is finally concluded and the writers have officially flashed us fans with middle fingers bigger than Podrick's cock. The Game of Thrones writers wrote our little P's and V's for 8 damn seasons only to leave us unfulfilled. The Game of Thrones writers, essentially, have caused a divided fan base amongst an army of depressed fans who are in need of purchasing my helping hand. Nope, that sounds gross. In need of purchasing some therapy, and that's why I'm here, to aid all you fellow brave soldiers from this nightmare. As always, the comment section is a community output for help, and if you have any concerns, stories, questions regarding your Game of Thrones trauma, please feel free to post them down below. I'm sure me and many others will be happy to help you through these difficult times and say absolutely nothing negative or rude to you because we are all fine Christian citizens here. Remember, 1 like equals 1 prayer for the young men, women, children, full-grown men living in their mom's basements, King's Landing, skanks, logic, whatever I left out that we lost due to the battle of the writers. Also, make sure to check out my previous therapy lessons for more methods of getting yourself back up and centered in life. Now let us dive right into session 27 of Game of Thrones therapy. If there is one factor that has stayed consistent throughout the entire show's runtime, it's that Daenerys, Stormborn, and Jon Snow have stayed looking sexy as hell. Whether you're gay, straight, a triangle, you can at least appreciate the beauty behind these two lads. No matter how much BS happens in the writing of Game of Thrones, at least you got to gaze at those gorgeous, perfectly symmetrical faces. Emilia Clarke is the most beautiful and likable female individual on the planet. It's literally science. It's actually been proven by experts. But you know, don't get me wrong, I'm no sexist, so let's not forget to add Mr. Kit Harington into the equation. Like, I'm not gay or anything, but if I was a chick, I'd definitely 100% hop on that dick. And it's not just Emilia and Kit who are the hotties on the show, it's mostly everybody. Just take a look at this list for yourself. So remember, your expectations may have been demolished, but your eyes were somewhat pleased by the visual scope, I guess. Get yourself a nice cup of Westeros rum or Winterfell Starbucks coffee. What the f***? Or some top-selling crack and cocaine and snort the f*** up. We went from coffee to crack real quick, didn't we? It'll even put a smile on Jon Snow's face. Sometimes you need a good drink or 30 to forget all that nonsense that went down throughout Season 8. No matter how many times we saw Sam's fat ass survive getting ganged up on by White Walkers, and no matter how many times we recall that moment when Dany forgot about Euron's Iron Fleet. What the fuck? And no matter how pathetic pretty much everything that happened in the final episode was...
Who better to lead us into the future?
We can wash it all down by a good old sip of the liquor, and boom, your troubles will become just as non-existent as Theon Greyjoy's penis. Tired of living life like a f***ing loser who can't get over that your once favorite TV show founded on incest porn and Lord of the Rings fanfiction went down the shitter? Well, not anymore. Even the dwarf son of Tywin Lannister approves of this method. There's nothing more to it. Epic score. We are all struggling. You're not the only one who feels this way, and just to prove it, I'm going to go through some fan reviews of some of the past couple Game of Thrones episodes. This doesn't feel like Game of Thrones anymore. Tonally, Game of Thrones has been kind of off the rails in recent years. Take Season 7 for example, and even Season 6 arguably. I think Season 7 is where we started noticing that the writers were kind of derailing Game of Thrones into a more mainstream approach. Like, Game of Thrones almost feels like a Marvel movie now, and it feels like a drawn-out Marvel movie. And no diss to Marvel movies, because I like a majority of them, but Marvel is able to maintain their tone. They have this super fun mainstream tone throughout every single one of their movies. Game of Thrones, though, they completely changed it. They went from this more serious political feel, this more drawn out drama feel, to this more straightforward and more about the action and whatnot. I almost cried because of how bad this is. Well, now you're just being a pussy. Star Wars, no way after this. Apparently D&D shall produce the new Star Wars trilogy. I hope Disney bosses are reading some of the reviews for Game of Thrones Season 8 and make another decision. Honestly, after considering what Disney has made in the past in terms of Star Wars, I think they would want D&D on their project because they are pulling some Last Jedi shit, and they seem to like that stuff. There is no humanitarian plan to dethrone Cersei. I thought that said something else. A message to Dan and Dave. Dude, this is like the most wholesome review I've ever seen. This is actually like kind of cute. I give props to Channel Sergeant, whoever the hell you are. Very beautiful review. I feel like Tommen in season 6, episode 10. Oh shoot. This guy should watch my therapy videos. That's kind of scary. Send me the link to that petition. Donald Trump could have written a better season finale than these clowns. What an epic disaster. In terms of my opinion on the petition, I think it's absolutely extremely unnecessary. I mean, like, here's the thing. I understand that people are mad about it. I mean, coming from someone who didn't like season 8 myself, yeah, I guess I can understand why people are doing the petition, but here's the thing. Even if you make a petition with millions of signatures, there is no way HBO is going to spend millions and millions of dollars to remake all of season 8. That is just unrealistic. Game of Thrones, in all honesty, has provided us 5, maybe arguably just 4 agreeably epic seasons of fantasy-based political drama. I disagree with some fans who have claimed that this finale season ruins all of Game of Thrones because you can still enjoy the first 4 seasons as its own thing, in my opinion. Just pretend the ending doesn't exist, or just realize that the White Walkers really don't matter and that who gets the throne or not also doesn't really matter when compared to the glorious build up to that moment. So overall, season 8 may have been dragon shit, but I think we have to remember that D&D did more good than bad in the end, maybe, sorta, I guess. They created/kickstarted this show, so I think I've been more grateful than disgusted by what they have produced on HBO. As a wise man/woman once told me, you want a good girl, but you need the bad pussy. Which, in a way, is a very abstract and broad and deep representation of what Game of Thrones has become. Sometimes we need to be pegged in the ass for every time we get a nice slice of family-friendly quality television entertainment. Deep shit, D&D. Deep shit. Remember to tune in for the next therapy lesson where we go over breathing techniques and ways to legally adopt a dragon. Now, get the hell out of here.
You want a good girl, but you need a bad pussy.